apologies if this ends up turning into a rant, which it probably will. This new Brawlhalla update is complicated. It's very complicated. There's good and there's a lot of bad, and that bad is a specific pain point for many. It's a pain point for me, so let's just get into it right away. The first thing that we gotta talk about, of course, is this Wu Shang skin, the Ascended Wu Shang. When Ascended Nyx came out, I don't even know how long ago it was now, a couple months ago, everyone kind of knew, yeah, they're gonna make these very, very expensive skins probably for as many other legends in the game as they can, as long as it's a success, which it probably would be. And it probably was, seeing that we have another one now, Ascended Wu Shang. This is one of these mythic epic skins that has, I mean, I guess it's even higher tier now, it's called Ascended, that has all of these exclusive effects, like when you actually hit people in the game, the light attack effects are different. All of the signature effects are different. You have a trail effect now, so when you hit people far away, it's a completely different animation. Now, this skin itself costs 900 mammoth coins. It's discounted from 1,120. I'm gonna get into that in a sec. It's not actually discounted. And that is fine. This skin costs $35, $40, whatever it is. I actually have no problem with that. You get what you pay for. It's not any kind of gambling. Sure, it's expensive. It's outrageously expensive for many, but if people want to pay for it, they can pay for it. If it helps BMG as a studio, it helps BMG as a studio. Hopefully they can put out more updates, yada yada yada. You don't need it, it's a skin. Now where things start to get a little bit more complicated, and I just alluded to this earlier, unfortunately, is something that I've talked about in multiple full-length videos before, and I'm still having to talk about it now because the problem has not gotten better, but it's gotten worse. And that is this fake discount here where you see it costs 900 mammoth coins, but oh, guess what? That's actually a really good deal because standardly it costs 1100 mammoth coins. So you're actually saving by getting it. It looks more appealing. More people will want to buy it. And I hate that because it's not a discount. This is an exclusive skin. The only way to get any of this stuff is through the pack. It's through the bundle. It's through the discount. But when that discount is advertising something that you can't get anywhere else, just fundamentally, that is not a discount. That's not how that works. And I find this quite manipulative. I find this quite egregious. And I've spoken out against this, again, in multiple full-length videos. I did a deep dive on the Destiny pack, which is the first time I think we saw that in a huge number. And then it's happening again with all of these Ascended skins. Once again, I would like to reiterate that I am a big Brawlhalla fan. I would not be sitting here 10 years later talking about Brawlhalla still if I wasn't. And I want BMG to succeed. I want the game to thrive. I want them to make money, even a lot of money. And doing it like this feels weird. It just feels weird. And that is going to be a continuing trend for this patch. If I were to get into it a little bit more, I'll spare you all the details because, again, I have a 35-minute commentary breaking down the monetization of Brawlhalla. The reason why it feels so strange is because it goes against a lot of the conventions and expectations that we as Brawlhalla players over the years have developed and appreciated about the dev team. Transparency, a connection to the players, and looking out to make a free-to-play game that really emphasizes the free-to-play element, while of course having skins and stuff to keep the lights on. That's how these monetization models work. If it's free, they have to get their money in other places. And the reason why this is such a pain point is because it feels like it breaks those conventions. Yes, you get what you pay for, but it's kind of deceptive in how it advertises it to you. It's not really that transparent. It's so expensive that it feels like it alienates such a big part of the community. And again, I think that one specifically is not really an issue. If it's an expensive skin and people want to pay for it, they feel like it's worth their money, that's okay. But it's the way that it's done, it feels suspicious. And that goes double for the next thing that they added in the shop now, the RGB colors. Now, these colors were something that they hinted at in a bunch of different trailers over, I don't even know, maybe it was a full year now, and maybe a little bit less, but you get the idea. In each trailer, there was a legend with that color, and people were like, oh, what is this color? What is this color? Anytime a new battle pass came out, they were like, oh, is that the new color? No, it's not. I don't wonder when it's coming out. And so RGB colors were something that a handful of players, now I will say this is a pretty small group, were excited for and anticipating. I think in general, a color scheme is something that the overall player base, the moment it gets added into the game, appreciates because it's free. It's something that you can earn maybe by winning with every legend, which yeah, it can take a while, but it's free. You can get it for your mains pretty much guaranteed. And now you can't. This is the first time in Brawlhalla history where a color is locked behind a paywall. Now, I do think there is a way to do that. I think there's a way to do that well, and a way to do that in a way the community will actually appreciate and be very open to, which is these exclusive colors in the past. Maybe it's community colors, maybe it's esports colors, that's probably the best way to do it, that are no longer available, that you could get for free in the past. Maybe they'll add them in the shop like 6 months later, and you could buy those with mammoth coins, whatever. I don't think anyone will really have a problem with that, except for people that are like, oh my god, it should have been exclusive, but whatever. I think that is something that people would appreciate. They'd be like, yeah, I am happy to spend my money on something like this that I wanted in the past that I couldn't get, or maybe I didn't play back then, and this supports the devs, it supports the game, whatever, I'll pay for that. But for a brand new color scheme that was hinted, that was advertised as the most anticipated color of all time, that doesn't feel good. It really doesn't feel good. And I think part of what makes this difficult to unpack for the community, why there's so much backlash, why it's been pretty much universally disliked, is that it sets a precedent and it continues the trend of Brawlhalla as a game seeming like all they want to do is squeeze more and more and more out of their players, monetizing every single aspect of the game. There's companions now that are floating around in the game. There's these weapon trails, and now even the color swaps, things that have always been free for a decade, the new one is locked behind a paywall. Again, it goes back to that whole thing of how we as a community understand Brawlhalla, how we've appreciated what we've appreciated about it, and this breaks those. Now, I think this was inevitable. Like I mentioned before, if there was some kind of esports V2 color option to buy it in the shop, like that would be expected. And I don't think that this is the craziest thing in the world. And while it is strange and it is frustrating to see this happen, the worst part about it, in my opinion, is the random RGB option in the shop. So not only are they locking this new color behind a paywall, a 400 mammoth coin paywall at that, which is the same cost as some of these exclusive crossover skins, there's now a 10 mammoth coin random RGB option. So you select this, you buy this one, you have a 1 in 66 chance to get the legend you want. You might wonder, 1 in 66, why would anyone buy that? Well, the answer is a lot of people will buy that, because it's priced specifically at 10 mammoth coins. Now, part of this is the 400 will seem like a better deal, because not only is it less, 660 mammoth coins to get everyone through the random versus 400 to get it for everyone, and then also for all future legends, but this is really targeting the leftover currency. The way that Brawlhalla works, the way that almost every single free-to-play monetized game works, is they have a currency, and then they have a currency that you trade for dollars. And the reason why you don't have most games, Rivals of Ether 2 is the only one that I can think of that's a direct like $1 to 100 Ether buck, whatever ratio. The reason why it's not $1 to 100 mammoth coins is to obfuscate. I don't know if I said that word right. It's to hide the value of the mammoth coin so you don't realize how much you're actually spending. And what they can get away with by doing that is having these conversions that aren't quite right. Let's say you want to buy the Ascended Wushang skin. It costs 900 mammoth coins, but you can't buy 900 mammoth coins. You can't buy that even number. You can't buy the thing that you're trying to buy. The only thing you can buy is the $35 pack that costs 1,000 mammoth coins, and that'll push you 100 over. well, what can you buy with 100 coins? I guess you could buy a skin on sale, or you could buy something else. So you're gonna do it. Because what else are you gonna do with those leftover coins? You buy a skin on sale, maybe it costs 80, maybe it costs 60, whatever it is. Now you have some coins left over, and you can't buy anything other than an avatar and maybe this brand new featured random RGB color. The problem with these leftover coins is that it gives you the impression that you can get something extra. But you actually can't get something extra because you paid for those coins. And you only paid for those coins because there's no other option than to pay for those coins. So basically what it is it's getting people to use up the mammoth coins in their bank, the extra mammoth coins, quote unquote, that aren't actually extra. And then the next time something comes out that they want, they're gonna end up spending more. The argument people always have whenever stuff like this is brought up is, well, you don't need it, so why would you get it? And I think that is pretty reductive. I think it really doesn't get to the point. Again, I've broken this whole thing down in that commentary. The reason why I keep talking about it is because I'm obviously frustrated that I made that entire thing and then things have only gotten worse. But I really don't agree with that argument, in big part because of what I keep mentioning. Brawlhalla as a game and BMG as a dev team, a studio, has really prided themselves on the transparency in the interaction with the community, and when there's marketing practices that are very clearly not transparent and very clearly aimed at siphoning just a little bit more patch after patch after patch, that's incredibly frustrating as a player that has supported and been in the scene for as long as I have, and for as long as you have. Even if it's just a year, a few months, it's still frustrating. So in short, the monetization in this patch has been pretty egregious. The Ascended Wushang with this fake discount, the All Legends RGB, which breaks a decade of convention by charging for a color scheme, the random RGB, which reintroduces gambling into the shop for the first time in a long time ever since the chests, and these new cosmetics of the smoke trails, which now changes the moment-to-moment gameplay. Of all of these, this 900, 400, 240, 240 mammoth coin products, the one that frustrates me personally the most is the 10 mammoth coin option, the random RGB. Because I think it best highlights the issues that I've been speaking about regarding monetization on my YouTube videos here. The fact that it is gambling, you don't know what you're gonna get, you don't know what you're gonna pay for. Like I said, Ascended Wushang, it's expensive, but at least you know. At least that's guaranteed. At least the Heatwave Ultra Bundle, you know everything you're gonna get inside of it. Random RGB, it's right there in the name. Number two, it feels like it's kind of been boosted up with artificial hype. Now, I know people were excited for RGB colors, but some of the promos for it were a little wild, in my opinion. Maybe that's a small thing to highlight, but number three, like I said, it has this leftover currency problem, which is, to be clear, an issue with the entire Brawlhalla, the entire Brawlhalla shop as a whole, but this is a pretty recent example because it feels appealing. It's only 10 and you might get the legend you want. You're gonna roll it. Oh, guess what? You got somebody else. Well, that was pretty hype. Maybe you'll do it one more time. It's pretty cheap after all. Anyway, this patch is pretty big. That's my spiel on the new things in the shop. Again, it was a little bit of a rant like I warned you in the beginning, but I hope that wasn't too bad. What I will say is Ascended Wushang and his animations look great. The sidekick is amazing. The knockout effect is beautiful. All of the art that is getting added is really fantastic. And I hope that that does not go unrecognized. There's also some pretty nice stuff with a new skirmish, light versus shadow. I think this is the most appealing one yet. There's a new Adidas crossover. This one, they say dominate the game like Damian Lillard. So I guess this is them kind of adding Damian Lillard into the game, which is interesting because I know Brawlhalla in the past has stated pretty outright they no longer want to add real people from the real world into the game. The WWE is like the last time they're ever going to do that because, you know, you don't want any bad press if one of those people ends up being a psycho. So it's funny that they're doing it this way now. You would probably never guess that this is Damian Lillard unless you took a look at those Battle Boots names, Damax, but that's okay. I'm fine with that. That's cool. Nothing to complain about. Other things in the patch, there's a brand new map for Kung Foot. That's great. Those trail effects that they were mentioning, you can now equip them on anyone, so no longer is the Ascended knockout effect only locked to Ascended Nyx. No longer is the Ascended Wushang effect, which is, only available now, locked to Wushang. So there's going to be a lot of effects on your screen in the coming months, probably, as you queue up into ranked and Fenrir Mordex is going to have the blue one or something like that. Ultimately, I guess I don't really have an issue with it. If it helps BMG, if it helps the game, if it helps them put out great patches like the Heatwave patch or that Ascended Nyx patch, which had a whole event, the whole event center. Like, if it helps them do stuff like that, if it helps esports, whatever. I'm fine with it. I don't love it, but I'm fine with it. There's some pretty good quality of life stuff now. There's an equip button. Whenever you get something new, you can press equip and you get it right away. That's great. There's a balance patch, which is actually pretty sizable here. There's a number of notes. I'm going to go over all of that on my third channel, eggsoup Clips, which I've done for the past couple patches now. I haven't really advertised it here at all. I also don't publish the videos with notifications, so it's been a bit of an open secret, but here's your announcement now. Check that out for the patch notes. And they added back the timer into the game. So this was taken out in order for damage numbers to work. They had to apparently replace this menu with the other one. Now it's finally back. I'm actually surprised that they did that within pretty much one patch, I believe. So, or maybe 2 patches, including Heatwave. So that's pretty nice. I'm actually very happy about the turnaround on that. It's something that I specifically really missed. Otherwise, there's another update to the event center. So Heatwave and Skirmish, you can see both of these at the same time, which you couldn't do before. And some various UX fixes, UI, UX fixes. So how do I sum up this patch as a whole? You can tell I feel very conflicted. Every feature that's being added into the game, all of the different updates, the map that's being added, like, that is awesome. I'm very happy to see that, and I'm happy that it's included in this patch, because otherwise this would be a very, very depressing video that I'm having to make here. But on the other hand, having to make here, it's a very interesting use of words, choice of words there. I guess I don't have to do anything, but I woke up feeling so frustrated and feeling very alienated, I suppose, by the direction Brawlhalla has been leading for the past, I don't know, I guess 8 months or so. In January of 2025, I tried to break down the monetization like I've been mentioning, but in February, I also did a deep dive into where exactly Brawlhalla fits in the general landscape of gaming, the direction, how it's stagnating, how it can improve, and I keep thinking back to that. Talking about the accessibility of the game, how awesome that is, but how the depth can be somewhat invisible, and how I hope there's ways to display that, how the characters don't necessarily have the most amount of identity, and especially identity in-game. If there were something like voice lines, if there were something like animations on KO, that would change a lot, that would affect a lot. How the dev support has been amazing, but their use of social media, their interaction with creators has been lacking. And this is, okay, this is a bit of an aside, but I talked a lot about the partner program in that video. I think not shortly after, they made some announcements about it, which were pretty awesome, that they were going to expand it, they were going to make the program better, they were going to change things. And it's kind of funny because they did open it up in June. They opened up applications, a bunch of people applied. They said publicly that by the end of the week, all of the invitations for the new partners would be released, and that was over a month ago. So that does not inspire the most amount of confidence. Okay, mid-edit update here. Literally, as I was rendering this video, they sent out the invites. Somebody is watching over my shoulder like a hawk. What's going on? Regardless, point still stands. You can't do that to people as the official institution. I know a handful of creators that were filled with anxiety and sadness because they waited for the end of the week and heard nothing. But it wasn't for their own fault. They wanted to be recognized by the game, recognized for their work, and felt the hit of getting rejected. And it turned out that they just didn't get around to it for another 4 weeks instead of what was said, which was like 2 days. But I'm getting distracted here once again. The point that I'm trying to make is that all of these points, these pain points, these pressure points that the community has been feeling bubbling up for a while now seem to really be coming to a head and clashing with the direction that Brawlhalla is going. Because on the one hand, there's a lot of cool new stuff. This event center system is really great, and I think that's awesome, especially for free players. I'm talking all about this hyper monetization, but they did just have an event where they're giving away this exclusive seasonal skin just by playing the game, and I think that's awesome. I think that's great. This whole skirmish system, even if I feel like some of the implementation is not fully there, like in-game trackers for example, that is also good for the game. And these new systems, these new queues, damage numbers, like all of that is great, and I think almost everyone will agree that's great. And simultaneously, it sometimes feels like a bit of a buffer to offset the negativity of the increasing monetization of the game. And specifically, because I don't think increasing monetization on its own is bad, the commodification of more and more aspects of the game in a way that does not feel transparent. Because for those who know what's up with this gambling, with this leftover currency, with these pseudo fake discounts, you can see through it, maybe you're not affected by it, but it leaves a bad taste in your mouth. And for those who aren't seeing it, particularly those on the younger side, they're just spending more. So whether you're the players that pay with your wallet or the players that pay with your respect and your goodwill, you're not left feeling happy and satisfied with the direction, even with all of this other good stuff going on. Maybe you're looking forward to an update like Guilds that was revealed over 6 months ago now, and still waiting for nothing to come. Maybe you're awaiting that partner program and you were told that all you have to wait is a couple days, and it's now been a month, and you're left feeling stranded. Maybe you're someone who has wanted damage numbers for the better part of a decade, and when it's finally put into the game, it's missing perhaps the most key aspect to be useful to you, which is just an indicator floating above the head instead of your names. This has been the feeling that's been simmering with the community for a while. On the one hand, you're happy to support the game. You recognize that the devs are great people, and they're just people. They're not robots, they're not faceless entities, they are people working on something that you like. And you want them to be able to succeed, you want them to be able to thrive. And at the same time, you're not feeling fully satisfied with what you receive. And after receiving that, you get hit with a random RGB roll. If I were to zoom out a little bit and think about why exactly this is happening, I don't think it'd be a stretch to say Ubisoft and gaming industry as a whole. The squeeze is very real. Games are struggling. Live service games in particular are really struggling. So I don't think it would be out of the question to assume that Brawlhalla has to pick up the slack and make a lot more money. And it's unfortunate that those decisions are coming at the cost of its reputation. I don't think I personally have ever felt as disconnected from the game itself as I do today. And that's not to be a doom or anything, I still love Brawlhalla. Again, I'm sitting here making this video and making 70-page long documentaries on it. Like, I love the game, I love the community, at least the community that I feel like I have embraced myself into. I don't think that's proper grammar. And I'm very grateful for what Brawlhalla has given me in both experiences and the fact that I have this space to talk at a microphone, and the 14 people that are still watching at this point will hopefully be entertained. But I'm definitely frustrated, and I think that frustration comes through because of how much I love and appreciate the game. Anyway, those are my thoughts on Wu Sheng's Ascension patch 9.10. I'm sorry for the rant, I'm sorry for going off topic a little bit. Check out those patch notes on the third channel if you want. New second channel video I'm working on today is actually looking to be pretty cool, so check that out if you want to as well. I'm gonna head out. Let me know your thoughts. Goodbye.